When was the last time you truly felt uncomfortable? Not in a bad way, but in the kind of way that pushed you to grow? Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It whispers, you're fine where you are, even when you know deep down, you're capable of so much more. In today's video, we'll explore how comfort can quietly destroy your potential, and how stepping into discomfort can unlock the best version of you. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's dive in. When comfort becomes your greatest enemy. Let's be honest, we all love comfort. It's human nature to seek warmth when it's cold, rest when we're tired, and security when life feels uncertain. Comfort feels safe, predictable, and rewarding. But the truth is, comfort is also one of the most dangerous traps you'll ever face. It sneaks up slowly, wrapping around you like a soft blanket until you stop noticing how much it's holding you back. Think about it. Comfort rarely shows up as something bad. It disguises itself as rest after a long day, as taking it easy after a stressful week, as I'll start tomorrow, when the task feels overwhelming. It gives you just enough satisfaction to stop you from growing, but not enough fulfillment to make you truly happy. The world's most successful people in any field learned this early. They realized that the greatest threat to progress isn't failure, it's comfort. Because failure, at least, teaches you something. Comfort teaches you nothing. It keeps you in the same loop, convincing you that everything's fine when deep down, you know you're capable of so much more. Let's look at how this plays out. When you're comfortable in your job, you stop pushing for that promotion. You settle for average performance because it's easier than taking risks. When you're comfortable in your relationships, you stop communicating deeply. You stop trying to understand the other person. You take things for granted. When you're comfortable with your routine, you stop growing. You eat the same, think the same, live the same, and wonder why life feels stagnant. This isn't about working nonstop or never resting. It's about understanding the difference between rest and comfort. Rest recharges you. Comfort drains you slowly. Rest helps you recover so you can climb higher. Comfort convinces you that the climb isn't worth it. You see, comfort is the enemy of potential. Every time you choose comfort, you trade a piece of your growth. You give up the opportunity to become stronger, wiser, more disciplined. Comfort keeps you locked in a version of yourself that feels safe, but that safety comes at the cost of your evolution. Let's take an example. Imagine a young athlete who trains hard every morning. He wakes up early, runs in the cold, pushes past soreness, and keeps improving. Then one day, he starts winning. He becomes confident, then complacent. He starts skipping training sessions. He sleeps in. He tells himself he deserves a break. Before long, his edge is gone. Someone hungrier, more disciplined, takes his place. That's how comfort destroys greatness. It doesn't strike with a blow. It erodes slowly, quietly. Now think about your own life. Where have you become too comfortable? Maybe it's your career. You've stopped learning new skills because your current role pays well. Maybe it's your fitness. You keep saying you'll get back in shape when things settle down. Or maybe it's your mindset. You've stopped dreaming big because failure scares you more than mediocrity does. The problem isn't that you're comfortable. It's that you've started confusing comfort with peace. Real peace comes from growth, from knowing you're moving toward your full potential. Comfort, on the other hand, is like a still pond. It looks calm, but underneath, the water's stagnant. No movement, no life. If you stay there too long, you start losing your spark. You stop caring about what excites you. You stop chasing the goals that once made your heart race. You start living in a loop of mild satisfaction and quiet disappointment. The most dangerous part? You stop noticing it. The human brain is wired to seek patterns. The longer you stay comfortable, the more your mind normalizes it. Soon, anything that challenges you feels wrong. You avoid discomfort like it's a threat, when in reality, it's the only thing that can wake you up. That's why you must actively choose discomfort. Not recklessly, but intentionally. Wake up earlier than you want to. Speak up in that meeting even if you're nervous. Learn that new skill even if it feels awkward at first. Push yourself to run that extra mile. Read that extra chapter. Make that difficult phone call. Each small act of discomfort strengthens your willpower. It teaches your mind that growth is worth the pain. The people who achieve extraordinary things don't have special talent. They have an uncommon relationship with discomfort. They've trained themselves to find meaning in struggle. They don't chase easy days. They build resilience through hard ones. It's not that they enjoy the pain itself. They just understand its purpose. Pain is information. It tells you where your limits are. And when you listen closely, it also tells you how to break them. Let's return to that word, enemy. Comfort isn't loud. It doesn't come to destroy you directly. It whispers things that sound kind. You've done enough. You deserve a break. You're fine the way you are. But if you listen too long, those whispers become beliefs. And beliefs shape your entire reality. The truth is, you'll never reach your best self while staying comfortable. Growth and comfort can't coexist. One always kills the other. History is filled with people who chose the harder path. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. He could have stopped after the 10th or 100th failure. But he understood that comfort was a liar. Every failure was progress in disguise. In your own life, discomfort will look different. It might be facing your fears, ending toxic habits, or working toward a goal with no guarantee of success. But every time you step into that discomfort, you're teaching yourself something powerful, that you are stronger than your excuses. Here's the irony. When you live this way long enough, discomfort itself becomes your new comfort zone. You start craving growth. You stop fearing change. You learn to find calm in uncertainty because you trust your ability to adapt. This mindset doesn't just transform how you work, it changes how you live. You become more present, more grateful, more alive. You start appreciating struggle as proof that you're moving forward. So ask yourself honestly, where in your life have you gotten too comfortable? What dream have you postponed because you wanted things to feel easy? And what would happen if you chose challenge over comfort just for a week? The answer might surprise you, because once you step outside your comfort zone and see who you can become, you'll never want to go back. The lesson is simple but powerful. Comfort kills potential, but discomfort builds greatness. The choice is yours every single day. Will you settle for the easy path, or take the one that forces you to grow? Because in the end, comfort feels good, but greatness feels better. The trap of comfort. Comfort feels good. It's warm, safe, predictable. You know what to expect, and you can almost live on autopilot. But that's the problem. Comfort keeps you still. It convinces you that staying where you are is better than risking something uncertain. And over time, that mindset builds invisible walls around your life. Think about it. Every great story begins with a challenge. No hero ever grew stronger by sleeping in or staying inside their comfort zone. Growth only happens in discomfort, in pain, failure, and uncertainty. That's where your true potential lives. The danger of comfort is that it doesn't destroy you suddenly. It kills you slowly, quietly, through small habits and easy choices. You start skipping your workouts because you're tired. You put off that project because you don't feel ready. You stay in a job you hate because it's stable. Before you realize it, years pass, and the fire inside you has dimmed. Comfort creates the illusion of peace, but it's actually a cage. It tells you you've done enough, even when your heart knows you haven't scratched the surface of your potential. Comfort makes you forget what hunger feels like. It makes you stop chasing excellence because average feels fine. But fine is not fulfilling. Fine doesn't build legacy. Discomfort, on the other hand, is the real teacher. It's what forces you to adapt, to evolve, to become something more than you were yesterday. The gym hurts because your muscles are growing. Rejection stings because your confidence is being tested. Failure feels heavy because it's shaping your resilience. Every person who has ever achieved greatness made discomfort their ally. They didn't run from pain, they used it. They understood that being uncomfortable means progress is happening. They learned to sit with the burn, to breathe through the struggle, to find peace in the fight. When you become too comfortable, you stop asking questions. You stop taking risks. You stop growing. Life becomes a loop. Wake up, work, Eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. The scariest part? You start thinking that's normal. But deep down, there's a voice inside you that remembers what it's like to want more. That voice gets quieter the longer you stay comfortable. It's your inner fire begging you to move, to challenge yourself, to stop settling for less than you're capable of. Comfort won't just slow you down, it will erase your edge. It will make you forget what it feels like to fight for something, to earn something, to truly deserve something. You'll lose that spark that once made you unstoppable. So ask yourself right now, where in your life are you too comfortable? Where have you chosen easy over growth? It could be your career, your health, your mindset, or your relationships. Because the moment you identify those areas, that's where your real work begins. The truth is, your dreams live just beyond your comfort zone. Every time you step into the unknown, you take one step closer to the person you're meant to become. You may stumble, you may fail, but you'll never regret trying. Regret only comes from staying still, turning discomfort into power. If comfort is the silent killer, then discomfort is the secret weapon. It's the forge where strong minds, strong bodies, and unshakable spirits are built. The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't talent, it's tolerance. The ability to sit in discomfort, to breathe through fear, and to keep moving when everything inside you screams to stop. Most people think pain means something's wrong. But what if pain is just progress in disguise? When your muscles ache after a workout, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your body is adapting. When your heart races before a big presentation, it's not anxiety holding you back. It's your body preparing you for performance. Every tremble, every doubt, every moment of discomfort is your mind and body evolving into something greater. But here's where people get it wrong. They want growth without friction. They want results without the grind. They want confidence without rejection, strength without struggle, and success without sacrifice. It doesn't work like that. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the compass. It shows you where you should go next. If something makes you uncomfortable, that's a signal. It means there's potential there. Growth, opportunity, evolution. The great ones, the ones we look up to, understand this deeply. They don't chase comfort, they chase challenge. When life gets hard, they don't retreat, they lean in. Because they know that every time they endure what others avoid, they separate themselves from the crowd. Think about it. No one remembers the person who quit when things got tough, but the one who stayed, who worked through the pain, who kept moving when no one was watching. That's the person who becomes unstoppable. Discomfort is where your discipline is tested. It's where your mindset is sharpened. It's where you find out if your goals are just wishes or if they mean something to you. When you wake up early even though you're exhausted, when you study while others are out partying, when you work on your dream after your day job, that's when you're building something unbreakable. You're teaching yourself that you can rely on you. Most people break because they never built that relationship with discomfort. They see pain and panic. But the truth is, pain has a purpose. Every time you push through something hard, you're rewriting your story. You're proving that your limits were never real. They were just walls built by comfort. Let's take a moment to visualize this. Imagine two paths. One is smooth and easy. You walk without effort. You never stumble. It feels safe, predictable. But after miles of walking, you realize you haven't gone anywhere. The scenery hasn't changed. You haven't grown. The other path is rough. It's steep, full of obstacles, and sometimes it hurts. You fall, you bleed, you question why you started. But as you keep climbing, the air gets clearer. You get stronger. You look back and realize that every bruise, every scar, every struggle, it all shaped you. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. That's what discomfort is. It's the climb that reveals the view. If you ever want to change your life, you have to stop seeing discomfort as something to escape from and start seeing it as something to master. Because comfort is the thief of greatness. But discomfort, that's the birthplace of transformation. Let's be honest, comfort isn't just about laziness. It's fear disguised. Fear of failing. Fear of judgment. Fear of looking stupid. But the truth? You can't fail at something you never tried. You can't grow from something you never started. When you choose discomfort, you're choosing courage. You're saying, I'd rather struggle chasing something meaningful than feel safe doing nothing. That's real strength. Start small. Wake up earlier than you want to. Do that extra rep when your body says stop. Speak up when your voice shakes. Face the things that make you uncomfortable, not to punish yourself, but to prove that you can handle life at its hardest. The world doesn't reward the comfortable. It rewards the courageous. Those who step into fear face failure and keep going despite everything trying to pull them back. When you learn to live in discomfort, you gain control. You stop letting emotions dictate your actions. You stop waiting to feel ready. You move because you said you would. That's when discipline becomes freedom. You're no longer trapped by moods or motivation. You move because it's who you are now. People will look at you and wonder how you stay consistent, how you keep pushing when others quit. They won't understand that you stopped chasing comfort a long time ago. You found peace in the struggle. You'll start to realize something powerful. Discomfort doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. It shows you what you're truly made of. The mind that used to give up becomes the mind that endures. The body that used to tire becomes the body that performs. The person who once hesitated becomes the person who leads. The transformation isn't in the results. It's in who you become along the way. Discomfort shapes character. It carves out humility, gratitude, and strength. It teaches you that real confidence doesn't come from things going right. It comes from knowing that even when they go wrong, you'll find a way. And here's the best part. Once you learn to love discomfort, life gets easier. Not because the challenges disappear, but because you stop fearing them. You stop running. You meet them head-on with calm determination. Every difficult moment becomes a chance to grow. Every uncomfortable situation becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a tool. That's when discomfort becomes power. You start to crave it, not in a masochistic way, but because you know it's where the magic happens. You understand that every meaningful goal lives beyond the edge of what's comfortable. You stop chasing pleasure and start chasing purpose. Because in the end, the greatest reward isn't comfort. It's the strength, peace, and pride that come from earning your own respect. The death of comfort. Why most people never escape it. Comfort is seductive. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you've done enough for today, that you can start tomorrow, that life isn't a race, and it's okay to slow down. And while there's truth in resting, there's danger in staying still for too long. The real trap of comfort isn't laziness, it's illusion. It makes you feel safe while it slowly kills your hunger. It convinces you that you're at peace, when in reality, you're stuck. Look around. Most people aren't truly unhappy. They're just comfortable. They have enough to get by, enough to avoid pain, enough to not have to fight. And that's the problem. Because when enough becomes the goal, you stop reaching for greatness. Comfort slowly lowers your standards until mediocrity feels acceptable. It doesn't destroy you overnight. It numbs you day by day. It makes you settle for a life that's fine instead of one that's fulfilling. And the saddest part? You might not even realize it's happening. When you wake up without purpose, scroll through your phone to feel something, chase distractions to avoid silence, that's comfort feeding on your potential. It doesn't need to break you. It just needs to keep you comfortable enough to never rise. You see, the moment you start believing comfort is happiness, you lose your edge. True happiness doesn't come from being unchallenged. It comes from overcoming, from facing resistance, and knowing you didn't quit. Comfort says, you deserve to rest. Discipline says, you've rested long enough. Comfort says, you might fail. Discipline says, failure is how I learn. Comfort says, take it easy. Discipline whispers, let's go again. That quiet war between comfort and discipline decides everything about your future. Comfort never announces itself as danger. It hides behind excuses that sound reasonable. I'll start tomorrow. I need to wait for the right time. I'll do it when I'm ready. But those words are lies. The right time never comes. You never feel ready. And tomorrow turns into years. The truth is, comfort is a form of self-betrayal. It convinces you that postponing your purpose is a form of self-care. But there's no peace in neglecting what you were meant to do. You were not born for comfort. You were built for growth. And growth demands friction. It demands failure, rejection, fatigue, and persistence. But most people avoid all of that because comfort feels easier. It's easier to watch someone else win than to risk losing. Easier to complain about your situation than to change it. Easier to say I can't than to say I will. Comfort is a prison made of soft walls. You can leave any time, but you don't because it feels safe. That's the trick. It's not that comfort traps you. It convinces you that freedom is dangerous. But real freedom is uncomfortable. Freedom means waking up early when you want to sleep in. Freedom means saying no to what's easy and yes to what's right. Freedom means choosing effort over escape, progress over pleasure, and growth over comfort. When you understand this, you start to see the world differently. You realize that every time you avoid discomfort, you're saying no to your potential. Every time you choose comfort, you're reinforcing weakness. And every time you push through pain, you're training resilience. That's why the path to mastery looks empty. Because comfort filters most people out. Everyone wants transformation until they realize it means suffering. They want the glory, not the grind. They want to be strong, but they don't want to struggle. But here's the paradox. The struggle is the strength. The people who seem calm in chaos, focused under pressure, and unstoppable in life, they weren't born that way. They just learned to live where most people refuse to go. They made discomfort their companion instead of their enemy. They realized that comfort breeds weakness, but discomfort builds peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding problems, but the kind that comes from knowing you can face them. Let's put it this way. Comfort is standing still in shallow water. You feel safe because your feet touch the ground. Discomfort is diving deep where it's dark and uncertain. You panic at first, but as you learn to swim, you realize depth is where you discover who you truly are. Every person who's achieved something great has drowned in discomfort before learning how to breathe underwater. That's what separates them from the rest. You don't have to climb mountains or live like a monk to escape comfort. You just have to make different choices. Choose the cold shower over the warm one. Choose the book over the endless scroll. Choose silence over noise. Choose the work when motivation dies. Each small act of discomfort builds a layer of strength you can't fake. And one day, you'll look back and realize the version of you that once needed comfort doesn't exist anymore. Because comfort dies the moment discipline is born. When you start living by principles instead of feelings, something inside you changes. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like it?" You just do it. You no longer wait for motivation. You create momentum. You no longer chase pleasure. You pursue purpose. And suddenly, the world feels lighter. Not because it got easier, but because you got stronger. Most people never escape comfort because they never face it head on. They keep hoping life will get easier instead of realizing they can get tougher. The truth is, life doesn't reward the comfortable. It rewards the committed. Those who endure. Those who choose the hard path when no one's watching. Those who sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term power. Comfort might feel good now, but it steals your future. Discipline might hurt now, but it builds your destiny. When you finally understand that, you stop running from pain and start respecting it. You see that discomfort isn't punishment. It's the price of becoming someone greater. Because here's what most people don't know. There's a kind of joy on the other side of discomfort that comfort will never give you. The joy of knowing you earned your peace. The joy of self-respect. The quiet satisfaction of looking in the mirror and knowing you showed up, even when it was hard. That's what comfort takes from you. And that's what discipline gives back. So, if you feel stuck, if you feel lost, if you feel like you're just drifting, ask yourself, when did I get comfortable? And what would happen if, for once, I did the opposite? Because the death of comfort is the birth of greatness. The rise of discipline, living beyond comfort. There comes a moment when you stop negotiating with comfort. When you finally realize it has taken more from you than it has ever given. That moment, when you stop making excuses and start taking ownership, is when your real life begins. Discipline is born in silence. It doesn't start with grand goals or perfect plans. It starts with one quiet decision. I will not live like this anymore. From that moment on, every choice becomes a declaration. Every morning you rise before the sun, every rep you push through, every uncomfortable conversation you face, it's all a rebellion against the old you. Because comfort built that version. Discipline builds the next one. The rise of discipline isn't glamorous. It's not the part people post about or celebrate. It's early mornings when you're tired, late nights when no one's watching, days when you question whether it's even worth it. But it's in those exact moments that transformation happens, not in comfort, but in consistency. You see, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up even when it feels pointless, because deep down, you know that every small effort compounds into something meaningful. At first, discipline feels heavy, like you're dragging yourself uphill while everyone else glides by in ease. But something starts to shift. One day, you realize it's not as hard as it used to be. You wake up and do what needs to be done, not because you're forcing yourself, but because it's who you are now. That's the secret. Discipline stops being effort when it becomes identity. When you start to see yourself as someone who doesn't quit, comfort loses its grip. It can't tempt you anymore because you've tasted something far more powerful, self-respect. The kind of respect that comes from knowing you didn't give in. The kind that doesn't need praise or validation. The kind that builds quietly, like fire beneath the surface. The rise of discipline changes everything about how you see life. You stop waiting for motivation because you realize motivation is just a spark. It fades. Discipline is the fire that stays lit even when the world goes dark. Most people think discipline is restriction. They think it means giving up freedom. But it's the opposite. Comfort traps you in dependency, on moods, on emotions, on convenience. Discipline frees you from all of that. When you live by discipline, you no longer need to feel ready. You act because you decided to. You move forward even when fear whispers that you can't. That's real freedom. Discipline builds structure where chaos used to live. It gives you peace not because life gets easier, but because you become stronger. The same challenges that once broke you now build you. The same pain that used to scare you now fuels you. You begin to crave the hard things, not because you enjoy the struggle, but because you know what it gives you: clarity, power, control. And suddenly, the world looks different. You stop chasing distractions. You stop needing approval. You stop searching for shortcuts. Because you understand something most people never will. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. Every hard choice is sharpening you for something greater. Every sacrifice is making space for the life you actually want. Every uncomfortable moment is proof that you're still growing. And growth, that's where peace lives, not in comfort. When you live with discipline, your relationship with pain changes. You stop running from it and start listening to it. Pain becomes your teacher. It tells you where you still have work to do, where you're still attached, where you still hold fear. That's what makes disciplined people so rare. They're not fearless. They just stopped worshiping comfort. They stopped letting emotions dictate their lives. They learned that the hardest path is often the most meaningful one. The truth is, most people never meet the person they could become because comfort keeps them from ever trying. But you have a choice. Every day, right now, you can choose comfort, or you can choose growth. You can stay safe, or you can step into the unknown. You can keep living the same day on repeat, or you can build something worth remembering. And that choice doesn't happen once. It happens every morning when your alarm rings, every evening when you want to quit, every time life tests your resolve. Each moment is a chance to rise or retreat. But if you want peace, fulfillment, mastery, if you want to look in the mirror and finally respect the person staring back, you already know which one you need to choose. Discipline will ask everything of you. It will break you down, strip away your excuses, expose your weakness. But in the process, it will also rebuild you, stronger, calmer, and unshakable. Because discipline isn't just about achievement. It's about transformation. It's about creating a life that's bigger than your impulses, bigger than your fears, and bigger than your comfort zone. You start to understand that comfort was never the reward. It was the test. It was there to see if you'd settle or if you'd rise. And when you rise, when you finally step beyond the line that comfort drew for you, something incredible happens. You stop living reactively. You stop letting life happen to you. You start creating it. You take control of your time, your habits, your mind. You build momentum that doesn't fade with the day's mood. You live on your own terms. That's the beauty of discipline. It gives you back your power. The world belongs to those who keep showing up. The quiet ones who don't need attention. The focused ones who work in silence. The disciplined ones who choose progress over pleasure and purpose over ease. They walk a different path, a harder one. But at the end of that path is something comfort can never offer. Peace through mastery. So when you feel tired, when you feel the pull of comfort calling your name, remember this. The pain of discipline is temporary. The regret of comfort lasts forever. When comfort whispers, rest, you've done enough. Discipline answers, we're just getting started. If this message found you at the right moment, it's not an accident. Maybe this is your sign. To step out of the comfort that's been holding you back. To choose the harder path. To become someone unrecognizable to your past self. Because your greatness doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the moments that scare you, stretch you, and shape you. So keep going. Build your peace through discipline. And one day, comfort will chase you. Because you'll have become the kind of person who no longer needs it.